Hello princesses! In this week's Intro to Beauty, I'm going to be talking about all things to do with eyes. That was a lie. Most things to do with eyes. The thing that I'm not covering today is going to be eyeshadow because I feel like that is a bit more of an extended technique. It's not as simple and it's not as everyday as I think what most people would be looking for like an introduction to beauty. So if you'd like to see a basic eyeshadow tutorial, probably just watch one of my eyeshadow reviews, to be honest. Or if you would like me to make a really good detailed sort of thing, then ask me to in the comments and I will try and do it in January. So I'm going to start off with eyebrows. So the first thing about eyebrows is that you should not pluck your own eyebrows unless you are experienced at it. So the reason that I say that is because I pluck my own eyebrows. I do everything with my eyebrows myself. You may hate them, but I like them. At the moment anyway, they're alright. But I've been having my eyebrows done for like quite some time. I'd probably say since I was about 16 when I started getting into makeup. And I had them done by professionals to start with. And I gotta say, there were some professionals that did them better than others. Like, I had some moments where I had like thin eyebrows. My eyebrows are not a good shape. I have a large scar in this eyebrow, which means that hair doesn't grow in part of it. My eyebrows are naturally a little bit higher and slightly more arched than they are shaped at the moment, but due to the scar, I can't have an arch in this eyebrow. So this eyebrow has an arch and this eyebrow doesn't. So what I've done is I've taken the arch off of this eyebrow. And one of the other #1 rules that people always say for eyebrows is never to take hair off the top, which I totally ignore. It depends on your eyebrow shape and what you want. If you are going to attempt to do your own eyebrows, please first see someone else, just to get the basic shape. And then if you really, really want to do it yourself, just follow the guideline of what the person has done before you. That's the most basic way to do it. If you want to change your eyebrow shape, you are brave, but I've also been there. There are 2 tools that I would recommend. The first are tweezers for the hairs that you know you want to get rid of. The second is an eyebrow razor for the hairs that you might want back next week. If you are not sure that you want to take that much off your eyebrows, use an eyebrow razor. Yes, you are going to get some like drastic looking regrowth the next time you do it. But there is nothing worse than seeing someone who's plucked their eyebrows too thin and has to go through a month of patchy regrowth to get them back to where they were before. I would much rather have eyebrow stubble from a razor and then have my eyebrows back to the same length that they were the next week than have to grow them back painfully like that. So if you are going to do your eyebrows yourself, tip #1, just shave them into the shape first. Trust me, you'll thank me later. The second tip is to fill them into the shape that you would like before you shave them. So if you think that you want a straighter brow, fill them in straight and use a concealer to cover up the other hairs to see what you would look like. It will also show you where to like shave or where to pluck the hairs out. But above all, if you've never had your eyebrows done before, don't do them yourself. It only ends in tears. So after that disclaimer, if you're wanting to fill your eyebrows in, there are many different things that you can use to fill them in with. One of the easier options is an eyebrow pencil. They just look like tiny little pencils. They have usually a flat square edge or some of them have a rounder edge. These are easy because they give you a lot of control. It's like using a normal pen and most people know how to hold a pen and use it. You're going to create little brow hairs with using a pen, so it's quite easy to do. If you have very dark hair, you want to go 1 to 2 shades lighter. If you have very light hair, you want to go 1 to 2 shades darker. Although, again, personal preference. If you have light hair and you want light eyebrows, you go, you do you, girl. If you have black hair and you want solid black eyebrows, again, you do you. It's personal preference. Just pick what you want. How you fill in your brows also depends on how much hair you have. I have a lot of eyebrow hair apart from the scarf. So when I fill them in, it's just like colouring within the lines. I'm just colouring the skin underneath a deeper colour so that my eyebrows look more like a solid chunk. However, if you have a lot less eyebrows, you don't want to fill them in like that because you're going to look like you have very fake block brows. You're going to want to create individual hair strokes. So something that would be better for you in terms of creating individual hair strokes would be to use a powder or a gel and a brush. This is going to give you a finer control over doing your eyebrows. You can still colour them in like mine, like a little block, that's fine. But this is going to make sure that you can actually create those tiny little hair strokes. You can also get eyebrow products that are in liquid form. I don't have any at the moment, but they would look like a little pen like this, like an eyeliner. And you can use those to create really good looking eyebrows. Like If you have the dedication and the time to sit there and draw in every single one of your eyebrow hairs, you can get the most beautiful natural looking eyebrows with using like an ink based eyebrow product. If you're going for that Instagram faded brow or really bold brows, a great product is a dip brow product, which is like a brow pomade or a cream product. Again, creams have more pigmentation than most other things, generally. So this is the Anastasia Beverly Hills Dip Brow Pomade. I have the shade Granite, which is like, I think, a slightly grey black, and this is fantastic if I am doing performances where I'm on stage, there's lots of lighting, or if I'm doing YouTube videos, because I can really get washed out by the lighting a lot of the time. So this creates a very dark, deep brow. They're also quite like intense. So the Dip Brow Pomade is not something I would recommend for beginners whatsoever. However, it is applied almost exactly the same as I showed you how to apply the powder. I recommend using an angled brush, dipping it in, and then sculpting out your brows. You can get a really beautiful line, and you can blend this. It just takes a lot of practice, so it's not one I recommend for beginners for that reason. For eyeliners, I always recommend liquid eyeliners over pencil eyeliners. I think that liquid eyeliners are so much easier to use than pencil eyeliners. Pencil eyeliners, you have to get a good one to use them right, otherwise they can really drag on the skin and really just make it difficult to use. A liquid eyeliner is just a little bit easier. They look and feel like pens, and it's easier to get control over it. Ideally, what you want to do is hold your mirror a little bit further down than what you think you would want to, and look down at the mirror. Why? Because if you look up, your eyelashes are going to be in the way. If you look down, you can put the pen over your eyelashes without having to do this with your hand. You don't want to do that. Make tiny little lines, especially if you're a beginner, and join the dots together. That is the easiest way to get a really nice eyeline. If you want to create a wing or a flick at the end of your eye, this will slightly elongate your eyes and open them. There are 3 types of main flicks. So you have like a little cat flick, like what I usually have every day. You have like a proper wing, which is generally like a very thick line. And then you have like your, I can't think of like the name for it, but they're kind of like droopy, like dog sad eyes, which is where your wings go slightly further down. It depends on what you want your wings to look like and your eye shape as well. So to create this little baby flick, all I do is keep looking down. I'm going to be turning slightly sideways so that I can see where the wing goes. And the important thing is your direction of wing. Ideally, it wants to go from the corner of your eye to the end of your eyebrow. However, if you're like me and the fold of your eyelid comes really far down, you don't want to go over that fold. The reason being that if you go over the fold when you're looking down, when you look up, your wing is going to be off center. So I extend my eyeliner slightly further down so that I can go upwards towards my eyebrow without getting in the way of that crease of skin. The crease is getting lower and lower as I get older, so when I was younger I didn't have to like specifically go out of my way to avoid it, which is a shame, but aging happens, so you kind of just, you go around it, it's fine. The great thing about liquid eyeliner as well is that if you make a mistake, wait for it to dry. Seems counterproductive. Wait for it to dry, take a Q-tip, you can use it dry or you can lick it to make it wet, up to you, and gently roll the eyeliner off. The eyeliner will actually usually ball up rather than smudge around. If you try to do it when it's wet, it just leaves big black smudges. We don't want that. Let it dry and then just roll it off. So much easier. The last step is mascara. So I'm going to show you how I curl my lashes using my Shu Uemura eyelash curler. It looks like a torture device, but it does work really well. Try and get it as close to the root of your eyelash as possible. So I'm going to try and get as close as I can, and then as I'm clamping, I'll kind of roll it up and inwards. So I'm trying to make that curl for my eyelashes. I don't want them to be just going upwards. However, if you have really short eyelashes, just do it once and try and make them go upwards because you don't have enough room to curl them up. It depends on your eyelashes. When you're applying mascara, try and choose a waterproof mascara generally because it'll stop it from actually smudging onto the top of your eyelids or the bottom of your eyelids. Why am I still holding this? You really want to get a handheld mirror for this and put it directly underneath your face. So literally by my chin, like down there. The reason being is that I can look all the way down. My eyes are almost closed so that when I brush up, I don't actually hit myself in like the eye, or not actually the eye, but like my eyebrow. I don't hit my eyebrow with the mascara wand. You want to do the opposite for when you're going down. You want to hold the mirror up here so that you're looking up and that your eyelashes are not touching the bottom part of your eyes, and then wiggle and pull down. When you're applying your mascara, don't just brush it, give it a bit of a wiggle on the base, and that'll make sure that all of the hairs get caught into the eyelash bristles, and then pull it upwards, because then you get the most mascara on the most eyelashes, not just the ones that happen to be there at the time. So that is it for this week's Intro to Beauty. Next week I am doing cheeks. So blush, highlight and bronzer. So if you would like to hear about that, then come back here next week. Otherwise, I have a video every single day for the entirety of December if you guys would like to see anything else and if you're not interested in beginner beauty. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye!